the husband's retiring and the wife's getting up and going to work every day for like 6 years.
Oh yeah,
Right?
that would not lead to resentment. I
Yeah. So
can't
it
see how that could
sounds
go
good.
badly.
Yeah, it sounds good on paper because it's like more affordable,
Sure.
but it doesn't work in practice. So anyways, I ran the math. They were stunned to see not only that they could both retire at the same time, but how it's being done. But the real takeaway was they have now information to make a decision on.
This is Successfully Retired with Hamilton Brandenburg.
All right, buddy. Listen, we do this a lot on our own through text and on the phone. And I thought it would be a good idea to maybe just start recording some of these where we just talk shop about some of the stuff we're working on, some client experiences, because the listener is just like our clients and our potential clients. And so they should be able to see themselves in these situations and recognize if that sounds like them and take some value from it. What do you think?
I like this. This is good. Yeah, I'm always saying we should record our phone conversations, but maybe that's just like my hubris, thinking that we're smarter than we are.
No, I think it's probably more interesting than the stuff we prepare.
That's true. That's true.
I might not have the bleep button ready enough for when we do that.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
No, but listen, I ran a couple meetings this past week with some new folks that we're doing discovery for, and some interesting things popped up. And one of the biggest one that was similar to both relationships that were coming from other advisors was that they really had no intention. They had no plan. So they defaulted to what they're like, what the rules of thumb are, or what they're being told, or what's like the norm.
What do you mean they had no plan? What do you mean by that? Like, no,
I have no idea. I have no idea to retire. I have no idea when I can retire, if I can afford to retire, how much money I can spend in retirement, like all the things, like all the normal things. So I've got a lot of money. I think I probably could pull it off. Everybody tells me I got to at least go to 62.
Sure.
Because of course that's when you can take early Social Security.
You can't retire without Social Security, can you?
No, that would be impossible. And that even is stressing me the hell out, because really 65's the number so I can get Medicare, because there's this big scary health insurance thing going on where I don't know what it costs. A couple people told me it's a lot, and so we'll just keep working, right, indefinitely.
Yeah, before you know, like, there's always a good reason to just delay retirement and keep working. But that kind of blows my mind. Like, you're working with an advisor and you don't ever talk about, like, when could I retire and what would that look like? Well, so they ended up in your office. So how did that conversation go? Are these young people, or are they like, how old are they?
One is 58.
Okay.
And this is the husband. The older is 58 and the other is about to be 62. And they both have spouses, wives that are about 5 years younger.
Okay.
And so what's interesting is I take all their information, I run an analysis. They're not clients yet. This is just like, hey, I want to run an analysis, show you what it would look like to work with me, where I might be able to add value if I can.
Sure.
And when I run the numbers, they can retire like yesterday.
Dang.
Both of them, right? Including their younger spouse. So here's what the mentality was, is I'm going to retire at 62, man. Spouse, wife is going to keep working so she can keep our health insurance.
Okay.
Right. And then when I'm 65, I'll get on Medicare and then she can retire and we only have to carry her insurance for a couple of years, blah, blah, blah. Right. So like, and the wife's getting up and going to work every day for like 6 years.
Oh yeah, that would not lead to resentment.
Yeah, I can't see how sounds good. It sounds good on paper because it's like more affordable, but it doesn't work in practice. So anyways, I ran the math. They were stunned to see not only that they could both retire at the same time, but how it's being done. Yeah. And both of them, it's being done differently because they're different scenarios, different ages, different cash flow needs. But I showed them the first couple years of their cash flow, and why it's not scary to take out more than you would think is sustainable because it's only for a short period of time and then back it down. All the fun, fancy stuff that we do and geek out on. But the real takeaway was they have now information to make a decision on.
Yeah.
Whether they retire tomorrow or next year, but I don't know yet.
How did they take that, hearing that they could basically retire right away? Was that, were they overwhelmingly excited by that? Or was that kind of like a, oh shit, now I have like a lot more decisions to make than I thought I needed to? Like, do they get graduation goggles about their job? Like, how do you think they took that?
I would say cautiously excited.
Okay.
Like I'm excited, but keep proving to me that that's true.
Yeah,
like I'm excited, but also scared. True. Yeah, that's really what it was. I'm excited, and also you're nuts.
Yeah.
Right. So like, and I backed it up with data, and it's gonna require more meetings. We're not gonna make that decision. I purposefully started the meeting by saying no decisions are made today.
Yeah.
This is just like, I want you to see this through my lens, through my eyes, take the fear away, take all that stuff away, and just see how I see it on paper. Then we get deeper, and you guys get deeper on, do we really want to do this? What's it look like, and all that sort of stuff. But I think it was just super interesting because,
go ahead. Sorry. I'm going to take it somewhere
else.
They're
walking around with more than enough money to retire, stressed about money, and that's likely going to cause them to work. And again, to be super clear, you work longer, you will have more money.
Sure.
But you are not going to do different. In their situation, they were not going to live differently. They were just simply going to die with more money.
Yeah.
Which, if that's not your number one goal and you're not super thrilled about going to work, there's your answer. So they're walking around with more than enough money to retire, don't know how to actually take this money and turn it into a sustainable retirement. And the stigma of like, I'm retiring too young.
Sure.
That's a real thing. It's just a weird, and I think that's a conversation to have another day, but like, that's just a weird thing. Like, you don't have, retirement's not based on a certain age. If you're 40 years old and have enough money to retire and that's what you want to do it. Who cares?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point too. And I think, so I've had a client who, you and I've talked about before. And when they first started working with me, it was kind of just for planning, because they didn't really, like, a lot of their money was in their 401k. And when I first met him, and he was in his mid 50s, and I was like, hey buddy, you could retire today. Same thing. And that was exciting to them. But he was like, I actually really want to work till 65 because like I really like my job and I'm enjoying it and this is good. And fast forward 2.5 years later, he called me like out of the blue on a Monday. He's like, Hamilton, I'm retiring in May. So just having had the conversation and hearing from somebody you can retire doesn't mean you have to, but it's good to know what your abilities are, because for this guy, when some stuff started changing in his life and at work, it was really great to have that ace in the hole and say, you know what, I don't have to put up with this. I can just take the ball and leave if I want to, or I can quit or retire, whatever. So, it
was shocking. It was shocking to me that someone with that amount of money, who's paying tens of thousands in fees to a well-known investment advisory firm, who makes it known that they are clearly different.
A firm that spends more money on advertising every month than I make in a year, probably.
Way more. Yeah. Way more.
Yeah.
It's really just kind of a shame, because they were just on their own. Right. And so all these decisions that they now have to make and look at, I don't know what they're going to do, but they can sit down and make educated decisions on real information. And what I think was important was that was only one, that was like the big, like, shocking reveal. There's all these little ticky-tacky things that are like so easy to check off the list that aren't being taken care of. For instance, one of them is not contributing to a Roth at all. They're under the income limit they can. They don't have to do a fancy backdoor or anything like that. Between husband and wife, they should be putting $16,000 a year in a Roth for like a long time. They're not. Why aren't you doing that? I don't know, because honestly, we make a lot of money, but our cash flow is kind of tight. I'm putting a lot in my 401k, our spending is this, blah, 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 blah. Okay, and you have $250,000 in a regular investment account just sitting there. This is simple day one stuff where you just click and drag money from one account to another and turn it tax free.
Yeah.
And when I showed him that, he was like, "Oh, duh, light bulb, right?" But no one told him. No one's looking at this stuff and telling them that it doesn't always have to be fancy tax strategies and all this fancy. It could just be like, take a glance at some things and take the low hanging fruit, and all of a sudden your position's better.
Yeah, if you can move $7,000 into a forever tax-free bucket out of a bucket that you'll pay taxes on the interest and the capital gains on, why wouldn't you be doing that every single year? It's the click of a button. Like, to me, that's I sometimes think that everybody in the world is like you and I when it comes to like advisors, and like that's just basic stuff. Like that's the stuff too. I think like when I was the first year a financial advisor, there was a lot of stuff that like I didn't know, right? You can fill entire books with it, but that's one of the things that I would have been like, hey, this is how I'm going to add value. You got a big brokerage account, your cash flow is tight. Let's fund your Roth from your brokerage account. Why not? Just move the money over. It's easy. And you would a lot of times the people who, to your point, who I would meet with and present these strategies that were not groundbreaking, crazy, like I found a loophole in the secret tax code that the wealthy don't want you to know about. No. Like none of that crap. These people are working with seasoned financial advisors who've been doing this for sometimes 10 years. And a lot of times they'll say like, well, my advisor's got, 20 years of experience. And you look at what they're doing and you realize they don't have 20 years of experience. They have 1 year of experience repeated 20 times. They figured out one little thing they like to do, and they didn't learn anything else new since 1986 or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's a shame. That's a shame because people don't know what they don't know. So
yeah, I'll say something else that came up, and this one particular is just fresh because I did it last night. But in this other meeting, something that a lot of people are stressed out about to retire early, is the health insurance. And I'm not going to get super technical on it, but essentially, you can pay for it outright, or you can get tax subsidies through Obamacare, which then got enhanced tax subsidies. And so for most people don't even know that they can get tax subsidies. So they're already scared about the full premium. But now we're getting back to getting scared about the premiums again, because the enhanced tax subsidies are set to sunset and go away in 2026.
Sure.
So call your local congressman and encourage them to get that extended. But you can run a calculation if they're gone.
Yeah.
I can tell you what your premiums are going to be in 2026 if those tax subsidies go away. So instead of sitting around frozen saying, I don't know what's going to happen, so I'll just keep working, run the numbers with the worst case scenario. Bingo, you can afford it. So now if you retire and the tax subsidies get the sunset, we know you can afford it. If they don't, great. You have extra money. It's not really that difficult. So whether they want to spend the money on the health insurance or not, that's up to them. But I can show them that they can afford it and it doesn't change any of the other things that they're doing. All of a sudden they're like, oh, it's really not that scary.
Yeah. So I think that the takeaway, and let's wrap on this, is like, especially if you're in your 50s, because I understand if you're in your 30s, probably not a big priority, but if you're in your 50s, you should at least have a first cut draft for when you could retire. Yeah. And if you're got an advisor managing a 6 or 7 figure portfolio and they don't have any measurable goals against which they're tracking your money, what are they doing? What are they doing? They're getting me a great return. Well, for what? As I like to quote the great wise Lucchini, money's like fuel. It only counts if it's burned, right?
That's right.
So like what we're building up this huge gas tank for retirement. When does it start? So find your answer, find your number. It's not that hard.
It really is important. And again, you love what you do, keep doing it. That's awesome. But like most of the people coming to me don't love what they do. They don't have a passion for what they do. They want to start doing the things that they love to do. And you're always going to have more money if you keep working, but at what end, right?
Exactly.
That's going to be true until you die.
Yep.
At some point, that money is there to be spent. It's scary to spend it if you don't have a plan that proves to you that you can actually spend it and then not have to go back and work at Walmart when you're 82. That's the fear. That's the block. We had a whole conversation on that. I won't go down that road, but you're right. If you're paying somebody anything, but a lot of these people, I mean, the people I'm talking to, they're paying their advisor almost $15,000 a year, and they're going to work 6 years longer than they freaking have to.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
For no reason. And then if that were the case, I'd hope that they never then find out, because they're going to have all this regret that they didn't know earlier, right? So figure it out, have somebody figure it out for you. A quick calculator online doesn't do it. That's not enough. That's it.
It's a better starting place than nothing. But yeah, you're right. Right. All right, good talk, buddy. Let's wrap up for next time. See ya.
Yeah, bye.
This show reflects the personal opinions and viewpoints of myself, Hamilton Brandenburg, and my guests. Opinions and viewpoints are subject to change at any time without notice. No representation is made as to the accuracy, completeness, or relevance of the information presented. The information discussed is general in nature and does not constitute investment, tax, or legal advice, so consult with your tax, legal, and financial professionals about your specific situation. Past performance does not indicate future returns, and any indices mentioned are for reference and cannot be invested in directly. Brandenburg Financial Services is a DBA of CS Planning, an SEC-registered investment advisor.